that speaks to the power of dance and just movement, yoga, meditation, even just connecting your mind to your body.
Yeah.
You literally are not just like healing on you're healing on a very deep level, you know?
Welcome back to SmarterWellth. This is the podcast where we talk about real life. We talk about real change and how to navigate it all without losing our minds. CeCe, welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Me too. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I know we've had the pleasure of talking before and getting to know you a little bit. And so it really is an honor to spend some time with you and just learn a little bit more about you and how you approach your professional life as well as your personal life and the whole messy middle.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So one of the things we want to focus on today is the power of movement. And you own a dance studio, you're a choreographer, you are a dancer, dance teacher. So from entrepreneur to dancer and everywhere in between. So tell us a little bit more about why dance has sparked this intense fuel for your position in entrepreneurship, as well as just your own need to dance, to release.
Yeah, that's such a great question, because that is my why. You're asking for my why, which is so important to know, you know, as an artist or anybody who's pursuing entrepreneurship, is to know your why. And two things is that dance was just from 9 years old, dance was my anchor. And it was just really healing for me and allowed me to always have an identity rooted in something amidst whatever trauma, whatever chaos, whatever crazy stuff was happening in my life, you know? Dance was like home. And so I really can't, that's what has changed my life. And then number two is that I feel called to trailblaze a movement for unity and radical joy through movement. So I always say I'm trailblazing a movement.
Yeah.
And like, that's what God called me to. I feel like everyone is called to something. And those are like the words he planted in my soul: unity and radical joy. And then the platform he gave me is dance. I'm still learning, but like enough to lead out what God's called me to, you know?
I think that is one of the most powerful statements I've ever heard, honestly, because I don't care where you come from or what you do in life. I think everybody is seeking to truly understand what God made them for and what they're here to do, right? I truly believe that he puts us on this planet to use our experience, our pain, our joy, and it is meant to serve others and help others. I believe that wholeheartedly. And to hear you so beautifully put that together and know, I mean, deep down in the dark corners of your heart, right? That's God. That is God's plan for your life.
Yeah. Well, and it does not just come to you. I will say that if somebody is like listening and they're like, what the heck? I don't know. I don't have language around mine. I don't know.
Did it come to you in a dream?
It's like, yeah. God was just like, here's a letter sent from heaven. Like, no, I'm not that special. Okay. He had the words. One was at the depths of suffering. I was seeking the Lord. And because of that, like in the deepest amount of suffering that I've ever had, which we will all face suffering. We will all face it. And the thing is that a lot of people, I think, shut down in the midst of suffering, or they slip into like victim mentality or pity party. And if that happens, you're cutting off what God is trying to teach you. And I think what I just did a little differently that helped was that I embraced it no matter how bad it hurt. And I was like, there has to be a reason. There is purpose in this suffering. Each time I was met with it and was like, God, what are you trying to show me? What is next for me? What do you want me to learn? And so that's when things started to form where I could see myself. It was kind of like having visions. Like I could see myself in a room with mothers talking about what I had been through and how I got there and what God showed me, right? And then I read books to kind of, in the midst of the suffering, I would read books like 10X is easier than 2X, which is a book about starting a business, but it like changed my life. It was talking about the whole precipice of it. Is that the right word? Okay, sometimes in English I use words that I don't really know and I test it out.
Or you make up words.
Yeah, maybe I'm making it up. The whole precipice of that book, though, is about like, if you're going to start a business, you need to know your calling, because your calling is your calling no matter what realm you are in. So if I go in to become a swim coach, unity and radical joy is what I'm doing. If I'm like a teacher, if I am a doctor, unity. So knowing that I need to know my calling so that no matter if I'm 80 and I can't teach dance, like I'm still
Leads your focus.
Yeah. And then the last thing is my friend who also loves the Lord, her name's Susanna. Shout out to Susanna. She said, God gave me a vision for you, CeCe. He showed me that you were dancing in front of all these people, like black and brown and white people. And because you were dancing in front of them, you were bringing them together through dance. And I was like, wow, like unity, radical joy.
I was going to ask your definition of radical joy. You don't usually hear those two words together. So joy that doesn't make sense.
Joy that's like
unexplainable.
Yeah, like remember, was it David that danced in the streets? People thought he was ridiculous. Like that type of radical joy. Like, what the heck? Why are you so happy? And you're like, it's just God. And dance can actually ignite that type of joy where you're like, whoa, I can't believe I feel this right now. I've never felt, Yeah. And then unity dance really brings people together. Like, so she said that vision and I was like, I believe that. I do believe that,
And that's what you're here to do.
I think so.
And doing it well and impacting lives, adults and children alike, in so many different areas.
I really do hope so. And I do believe that.
So like putting the well-being lens on that, I would say human well-being, not necessarily just women's well-being, because we're talking about men and children as well. But what would you say was one of your first discoveries as far as how movement lent itself to finding well-being within your heart or within your mind or body?
Well, I felt I've always had anxiety, like since I was pretty young, and I just knew that at a young age, I knew that when I danced, I didn't feel that.
Yeah,
and so it's just, there's something about like when you move your body, you're able to hold space for more,
interesting.
able to hold space for more. And like, this is what our soul is inside of. Like, we're stuck in here. So having a practice that connects you to your physical body, this thing that you're inside of, is really helpful to navigate life,
Absolutely. I think outside of the dance component, because I am not a dancer, and I can very proudly say I wish I were or better than I am, but I am the worst there ever was. In fact, I can't even do like the aerobic classes where you only do like the 5 steps. I'm still the lady that's like 20 steps behind, like not even doing correct movement because I can't figure out how to put one foot in front of the other. So I admire anyone who can move their body with skill, first of all, like so much. I forgot where I was going with that. I was
20 steps behind.
I know what I was going to say. So being able to connect with your body and the movement, right? And you were talking about the bridge, and it makes me think about in my frame of reference, because I'm not a dancer, rather. It's really just being grounded in my feet, right? It's that still is a body connection. And I have a close friend that she has always said this: be in your feet. Whenever she has little girls, and whenever they were little, and just being careful, right? Whatever you're doing, hiking or walking around or whatever, just be in your feet. And when I heard her say that the first time, it really changed the way I thought about a grounding movement, right? You can apply that in so many different ways, but it is so grounding to get your feet on the floor, to feel connection between each of your body parts.
Yeah.
And I'm a meditator, so when you meditate, similarly, I can imagine when you are in your head, you don't necessarily think about all your body parts, right? But in a meditative state, before you go into meditation, you're called to recognize your body, recognize where are you feeling tension, where are you feeling anxiety. That is also, I think, another way of bridging that body and soul, like what's connected in your heart, what's connected in your mind to your physical body.
Yeah, and actually even to a scientific point, like about neuroscience and all that, like dance or movement patterns are so important. And they've been able, Anne Green Gilbert is the creator of brain dance. And basically she was a dance teacher that went into schools and realized that there were a lot of behavior issues in these public schools. And there's a lot of like stuff that they're dealing with. So she got into neuroscience and realized that the movement patterns that you learn the first year of your life, crawling, sitting up, holding your feet, those are actually developing pathways in your brain that you need to think clearly, behave certain ways, understand society, be intelligent. And she was realizing that you can help a student or a adult. She actually put together brain dance, which is an 8-minute practice that goes through each functional movement patterns. And she was watching schools have seen behavior issues be healed, intellectual issues, reading issues. And so that speaks to the power of dance and just movement, yoga, meditation, even just connecting your mind to your body.
Yeah.
You literally are not just like healing you're healing on a very deep level, scientific, we don't know that. Yeah.
No. It makes sense, right? Because we know how we feel afterwards when we do a body practice that's releasing that tension or stress.
Yeah. And I think it is so much deeper than just like, oh, dance helps me release stress. It's like dance movement patterns or dance help you make decisions better because it just connected new neural pathways that you haven't been working on. So now you can make a decision you couldn't have made yesterday.
Yeah.
Like it's that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what have you seen as some of the biggest emotional blocks in, I'm going to say patients, in folks that you've worked with, whether they've been students or maybe in some of the school work that you've done with kids inside the classroom?
Oh, definitely self-doubt. And I've experienced that myself. Just self-doubt and feeling inadequate. And because of that and all this self-talk, negative self-talk, we give up. So I've watched that in adults. I've watched it in kids. I can see it in their face when I'm teaching. Like you get really familiar with body language as a dance educator. So like you can just glance around the room and know like who's giving up, who's about to give up, who's feeling great immediately through body language. And I would say the number one thing that holds people back is just self-doubt, And so, and I felt that too, like especially being a mom and having a baby and your body becomes foreign to you. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to start over.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? I don't even want to try to like approach this body and try to figure it out again,
So self-doubt. I mean, how often is self-doubt a culprit in so many of the possibilities that we could overcome in our life if we just believed in ourselves first?
Oh, yeah.
So using dance as a mechanism to help yourself believe that you can, help push yourself to do something new, to try something new, to surprise yourself that you're capable. You can do this and you can do it beautifully.
Yeah.
And that beautifully is subjective also, right?
Absolutely.
And I hear what, like the comment I just made a moment ago and, just laughingly saying, I'm not a dancer, but I know how I feel when I do dance. It does allow me to feel more free and there are plenty of times where we'll just literally dance in our kitchen. When nobody is watching, I don't care. And that's a beautiful place to be. Mm-hmm. But I can recognize that it would be hard for some people in a public setting to overcome the thought of what other people think of them. And that could be limiting.
Yeah. And I think it's about like, and this is why you need dance teachers, right? It's like our job is to meet you where you're at and then help you realize that this is such a personal practice, just like yoga is, That's why I'm a big believer in yoga. If you don't feel comfortable in dance, like go start with yoga. That is dance on a mat. And it's the culture of yoga is very, well, I'm a yoga teacher too. And that actually shaped how I teach dance a lot because I went through the training.
Wonderful. Yeah. I did not know that. See?
Yeah, back in 2013, so like 12 years ago. But I wasn't really a huge into teaching dance yet. Mm-hmm. So like my first teaching training was in a movement form was actually body pump, which is like what they do in the gym. Yeah. I did that training and then I went into yoga teacher training and did that. And then I just applied those two. I mean, you learn how to cue people, you learn how to look at their hips, like, so both of those help me. And that's my approach as an educator is from probably that lens first.
Sure.
But it taught me how to be in the room with people and how to be present with them. Yoga, be present, notice what they're missing. Maybe they need to invite like play. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you like invite play into your life, meaning make a mistake right now. Yeah. Do something that makes you fall off your balance right now. Like just play.
Yeah.
Teaching, letting people know like you're okay. This is personal practice.
Yeah.
This is not about performance. Dance is 90% you're in rehearsal. 10% you're on a stage. So if you're going to do dance, like you have to love the practice of it, not so much the performance. That can't be your all.
Your end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a personal journey, really.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. And it reveals where you are every day, how you feel, just like yoga does,
Yeah. So then how would you suggest someone start using dance to process emotions? Someone that might not find themselves in a dance studio, but they have a kitchen, they have a bedroom.
Yes. Well, what's amazing about dance, it sets it apart from a sport, yoga. Some would argue with me about what I'm about to say about yoga, but like dance is built. Okay, so dance was birthed from communities, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been what we call an ancestral technology. So not technology as in terms of an electrical device.
Sure.
But it has been a technology, aka a tool to claim identity, to liberate people, to resist, but always in a communal setting. Mm-hmm. So dance is rooted in community, right? Mm-hmm. And the opposite of depression is community. Mm-hmm. So to me, you could go do all those other practices, but you may not find the root of what we're built to need, which is community, to the degree that dance does, because dance is built to like, you see each other, you move with each other. So I would say like, first shed what society has taught you about being seen, and it's scary, or like you're being judged or you're not enough. You have to shed that.
Let it go.
Yep. And you just come in the room and like focus on seeing other people and follow them and celebrate them and be like, oh, I love how they do that. Oh, I love how they like high five each other, cheer each other on. And you're going to just fall into the love of community because you are literally designed for it.
Yeah.
And that is what dance was designed for. It is an innate need to have community and then to physically move life through our body to be liberated, to claim identity. So that's how it's been a technology for communities, and it still is today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what about adults that never did this as a child? Mm-hmm. I mean, everything I'm hearing you say is that if you're lucky, if you were a kid, had the ability to be able to take dance and learn some more about your own body movements and what feels natural, what feels good, what feels like a natural release to you.
Yeah.
But as an adult, we're less likely to go take a dance class.
Yeah.
Like You do amazing hip hop dance, for example. I could watch it for forever. Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, how on God's green earth does her body move that way? Like, would my body ever do that if I tried it? I mean, do you have a lot of adults coming to you to say, okay, I'm ready to try this?
We've been really intentional, like, and to anybody out there who starts adult dance anything, please, like, at the foundation, make it about, like, love and community, because you're not going to survive without that, right?
Yes.
Because why would an adult come in their pastime, come stress themselves out?
Right.
Like, what the heck?
Doesn't make sense.
Work life is already stressful. So we've done a really intentional job of having a community of unity and radical joy. So when you come in, you are seen, you are wanted. And then everything is about laughter and fun and, like, let's just try it.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, we offer beginner classes, and we're just really careful about making sure you feel, like, seen and wanted in the space. And it doesn't matter what you look like. We don't even have mirrors in our classes, actually. So you don't get to see yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fascinating. That's a whole psychology experiment. And
it is.
Itself,
yeah.
right?
Which, if you look at yoga, that yoga does not use mirrors.
Okay.
Well, the, like, actual practice is not designed for mirrors. Like, gyms maybe use it, but it's not supposed to be for a mirror to look at yourself.
Right.
And so and dance did not start in front of a mirror. It made its way into a studio, you know? So yeah, we don't have mirrors. So, like, you really don't get to judge yourself. But I would definitely say that have your own, as an adult wanting to try dance, start your own functional practice, like, of just movement patterns. So brain dance is really good to go find on YouTube.
Okay.
And that sets up your ability to move, to be an athlete, to walk, to be a human. So, like, if you pulled up brain dance every day and did it, you would kind of start to understand movement. Brain dance is literally, like, tactile movement, tapping, cross-lateral, meaning, like, crossing your body. This helps rewire your brain. One side movement, other side movement. It takes you through a whole pattern, and then you understand your body better. So have something like that, you know, at home.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on a medical side of this, I know there's also a lot of health benefits in jumping and dancing. There's a gal that I follow online, and she actually had thyroid cancer that she has healed through a laborious process, but as natural a process as possible. She just didn't feel like having her thyroid removed was right for her. That is actually, I have a very close friend that had thyroid cancer, and that was her best option, right? That was absolutely what she needed to do for her best health. And so, going through this understanding of what thyroid cancer is, I found this other lady online, and one of the things that she always suggests, just in, like, helping your lymph nodes clear themselves, to jump and dance, right?
Love it. Yeah.
No real movement other than it's what her body was telling her to do at that moment, and connecting to the why also was knowing that she's clearing out the toxins in her body while she's doing this. There's not only the emotional connection to that, but there's a physical connection to her body as well.
Yeah.
Which I found fascinating.
That is really cool. Well, I have heard that, like, I went to a live blood analyst who draws your blood and then looks at it under a microscope and tells you where you're headed.
Wow.
And
in real time.
Maybe we could get in trouble by all this, like, knowledge that I am not a doctor. This is just stuff that I've known and seen over the years. Okay. But, and he was saying that every day you should jump on a trampoline for 5 minutes to drain your lymphatic system, and that it would just transform your health and your life completely. So yeah, I've definitely heard that. And That's really amazing.
That's so cool.
And the last thing I was going to say about what we were saying is like, there's this whole book about the body keeps the score that talks about how like, or there's a saying like all your issues are in your tissues. And so you've got to find ways to move trauma through your body. So it doesn't have to like, you know, we're stuck when we have tight spots in our body. A lot of it is probably connected to our emotional well-being, you know?
Absolutely. As simple as when we have the tight neck and the tight shoulders, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's how we hold our emotion.
Yeah. And it's so crazy how it starts inside but it can be manifest physically, you know?
Yeah.
Just in our thoughts and our heart, you know?
So when you think about movement that could help someone start to build confidence and self-trust outside of just anything random, is there a particular exercise that you would say might help build trust or self-confidence?
Yeah, I definitely think, well, first, doing these things where it's like so this is like tactile movement, squeezing and tapping, and then like rubbing. You're allowing yourself to be like, to orient yourself within your body. That builds trust, you know? And then just like, and this is from yoga too, is like a hand on your heart and one hand on your chest and like just breathing. This actually calms your nervous system. And so, yeah, just things like that are like building trust in your body, and jumping around crazy is actually really smart. Like that's really smart. Walking, like taking walks. I don't think it hurts to go take ballet because it's very slow and you're just working on alignment in your body at the bar and work on your alignment. And it's like finding awakening your body, you know? And then I leave after bar. I'm like, I'm not ready to jump around. I'm just trying to like stack my body.
Sure. Yeah, but that's a connection in a different way. Now, I've never taken ballet, but I love bar, the exercise class.
Yes.
I love it. And I found a real connection to it. Even if you're new in that practice, you feel so strong after doing it because you can connect with the way your body is supposed to be aligned. That is I never thought about how that may have built confidence or self-trust, but it definitely does.
Yeah. It's like what I love about ballet, and it's funny because I'm like such a practitioner of styles that aren't ballet, but ballet was for me, like I naturally have hips that are out of place, knees that turn in, just all the problems, pigeon-toed. So ballet was like the one thing that I was like, oh, this is actually working. It's the only thing that's working.
Interesting.
And it gives you such a confidence, such an awareness of your body that then when I would go to hip hop, I'm like, I know my body. When I go to do like jazz or contemporary, I'm like, I know my body. Nothing has helped me like ballet personally.
So really, too, I mean, to take this to a different health conversation, ladies, no matter what age you are, but specifically in middle age, I guess, but we need balance. We need to always work on those tiny little muscles that help us with our balance.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And the more we do today, our 20-year-old older self will thank us, whether we're 20 or 50 or 70.
Yeah. Right.
So some of those movements, right? I mean, that is knowing your body and wanting your body to be as strong as it possibly can be.
And yoga is a really good inroad to ballet too, because it's all built on alignment as far as like, you know, stacking your bones and you're building the muscles around your bones being stacked properly. That's ballet too. And, you know, if you're sitting all day, your bones are probably not in the right place. So go do that first, you know, and you are going to experience the emotional healing, you know, through it. But like, even if you're like practicing hip hop or something, I would say make sure your bones are stacked. Have some sort of functional pattern. Maybe it's climbing. Like I have dance friends who climb.
Oh, sure.
You know, and like they've got all this strength in them, you know, or maybe it's like just lifting weights. But for me, ballet and yoga are what like saved my body.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, it makes me think about something else. I was listening to, do you know Dr. Marie Claire Haber is her name. She's actually a gynecologist, OBGYN and gynecologist, but she talks so much about, well, menopausal women. She has this really, she wears a sweatshirt. She's online all over the place. She's fantastic. She wears her sweatshirt that says menopausal, and like the people that follow her, she calls them the menopause, which is absolutely hysterical.
I'm gonna hate this.
Check her out. In the idea of building strong muscles for our bones, as no matter what age we are, for us as we age. And she was talking about how so many women fall, right, in their older age because they have frail bones. But if they had stronger muscles first, they would not be falling. And it is a terrifying percentage of women that if they fall and break their hip, I'll have to make sure that this is correct, but if I'm not mistaken, it was roughly 70% of women will either not be able to be back up bipedal walking normal
Ever.
or it is their immediate decline, and they don't live past very many years after that. And she is very passionate about this work, and she talks about it is so preventable. If women would just take control of growing their strength and pay attention to muscle work to strengthen their muscles for their bone work, they're not going to find themselves with broken legs, broken hips when they're a little bit older. And so I never put those two together previous to our conversation, honestly. But the more you talked about that, it just made me think of this recent story that I heard her talking about. And she said, your 20-year-old older self will thank you no matter how old you are. Wow. And that just clearly aligns with everything you're talking about.
Yeah. And like Pilates is also another good practice. I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Joseph Pilates created it, and he developed it because there were injured dancers that he needed to rehab. And so that's where Pilates like came from. And maybe there was already some sort of practice of Pilates, but it got really big because of like these dancers that he was rehabbing. But yeah, it's literally,
I have to look that up. I don't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. And so, dancers are always told like you need to be doing cross training, you need to be doing Pilates, you should be doing yoga, but Pilates tends to be the go-to because it's all about alignment and deep core work. So like that's another, I would just say every single woman specifically needs to have a practice that is building their body, but also mental well-being.
Sure.
And like if you're not into dance, that's okay, but like yoga, Pilates, like bar class was awesome, an awesome substitute for ballet class, like just movement things that are actually like really purposeful, because you don't want to be doing hip-hop because you love it, but like you're always training a bad habit of how you hold your bones. That's not going to help you long term. You need to have cross training too.
Yeah. And I think to the earlier point that a lot of those processes are done in a community setting. While you can do them at home, and you should be doing them at home, right? But for ladies, it's also something to do in community. Go take a class. Go take a yoga class. Take a bar class.
And that might be where you need to start to feel confident in your body before you go do dance. And that's okay. And I've been there so many times. Like, it does not matter that my work is in the dance realm. Every time I have a baby, I remove myself from dance and I start somewhere else.
Oh,
and I start cross training because I don't have to, dance is a performance art form ultimately. And so you do feel that pressure associated with it. So I'll always go somewhere that's just a cross training, like Pilates or bar, or for me, ballet bar, like going into ballet class, but only taking bar, strength training, like deep core work, that's where I start.
I love it. No matter how old you are.
Yeah. No matter how many babies I've had, no matter how much I teach dance, I'm not going to be a dance student for a while because I know my level of security and I'm going to take care of like how I feel.
I mean, Lord knows we push our bodies to do a lot of things. And I don't want to resent it. We want to give our body grace.
Yeah.
But we also have to build it up to be able to do hard things.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, if someone feels self-conscious about dancing, so all of these things, right? I mean, is there any other suggestions you would say about starting or where they might start outside of just dance, like a Pilates or yoga class?
Yeah, I would say start in social dance situations. Like go to like where I live specifically, there's a lot of Latin dance, a huge Latin dance community, right? And those are like designed, so they're really practicing what dance came from, which is to be social. Yeah. So going out to those social events and just like watching and just kind of just moving along with everybody, like, okay, they're doing this, I'm going to try this, it's just really low pressure. And I mean, maybe for some people they disagree, but like, yeah, you can just watch people. There's no mirrors. It's social and you're just following. You're like, what was that move? You can say, I want to try that move. Like, let's do it, really just low stakes.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think too, just no matter what your physical capability level is, it's also, if you are not doing something regularly, just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like I have those apps that you can pay for dance. So like I have the SteeZy app where I can take dance online, and that's helped me even to get back into dance. You could take dance classes at home until you feel confident, or book privates. Like a lot of times the privates that I do with adults is that they're too scared to be in a class. So they just want one-on-one.
Yes.
And I help them build their confidence. So I'm like their mentor through dance. So we'll work on something as long as they need until they feel good at it, and then ease them into class. So like having a movement coach, whether it's a dance teacher or yoga coach, those privates, like they're not cheap, but it's worth building your community a little bit in the beginning, building a village. I mean, I've done it too. I've spent $75 an hour for somebody to like just help me get my body where it makes sense to me again. Yes. I've invested in myself, and I've been the investment for people, right? To help them. So do that.
Invest in yourself, period.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself and you will feel confident.
Yeah. Absolutely. Build your community, build your little village that's going to be like, how's your body doing this week? Or how's your mental health? Or what do you want to work on physically,
Absolutely. We are meant for it.
Mm-hmm.
CeCe, what a fun conversation. I love
We didn't cry this time.
We didn't cry. You're right. And I think we even said we weren't going to cry last time, but we did. Yeah. So if anyone wants to learn a little bit more about you and what you're doing and how you are taking your radical joy across the country, then they can find you at cecemariedance.com. So anything they want to check out with your wonderful suggestions, they'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much.
Yeah, what a great conversation.
Yeah. Get moving, people. That's what we need to tell them. Get moving.
Get moving, people. Yes. I love it.